Salesforce and ZoomInfo have their own technology already. Neither of those are really any good.
You ever wanted more insight into the behind the scenes of Mailshake or other cold emailing tools? Well, this is the video for you. Today I'm talking to Sujan Patel, who runs Mailshake, Norbert, and a bunch of other software companies, and we are digging in to what goes into running these companies. How does he think about new products? What do we think about the lead gen business right now? And a ton of other interesting stuff. If you are in sales or if you are an entrepreneur in the lead gen space, I think this would be a very good interview for you to listen to. Let's do it. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. Learn how to book meetings with billion-dollar brands and take your company to the next level at email10k.com. If you wouldn't mind just tapping that subscriber button and ringing the notification bell, liking this video, doing all that stuff, it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Plus, you can get access to all of our content. We have a ton of content on sales and lead gen. All right, let's jump into it. My main question for you to start off is, what are you doing? What is your life right now? Because you're running like 50 SaaS companies. You've got an agency. It sounds like you're raising a beautiful family as well. Like, what is happening right now in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I've got really, it sounds like I have a lot going on. I mean, I do. I have 4 main companies. You got Mailshake, which is the largest one and kind of where I spend most of my time. And I've got ZoomShift, Norbert, and Right Inbox. And Norbert and Right Inbox kind of go in line with Mailshake in the sense that there's a lot of cross functionality and kind of similar audience that we're going after. Not that like they have shared teams or anything, but just that like it's almost like I don't have to think about 3 different businesses. I'm thinking about one core customer and how to solve it in three different ways. And yeah, then we have ZoomShift, which is an HR tech, which is completely different, but very boring industry. I love boring, to be honest. Like, to innovate in a very boring industry is really, really difficult. It takes like a lot of brain power to like innovate in an HR space, do something sexy, cool, fun, what have you. We've been hiring like crazy at all of our companies. I think at the moment, a month ago I had like 10 open recs. I think we have 4 now, which we've filled a lot of good seats. But I'm not really an individual contributor at any one position, or at least not for too long, right? So, much like a lot of founders, I wear multiple hats. The good thing is I take them off, and my partner and I know how to operate businesses, and we're very, I wouldn't say we're the best or we're great at it. I'd say we're good, and we're really good at finding out what we don't want to do or we're not great at. And we just keep hiring, 2 types of people: really senior individual contributors, people who can work autonomously, and then number 2, good leadership. Right? So that like, and leadership comes with a process to operate. So we use EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, from the book Traction. And it's not the best system, but it works. So like I know what every team at my companies, all of our companies, are doing on a weekly basis from reading the recap notes of a meeting, right? Not even attending. And so, it allows me to kind of like jump in or not jump in based off what's happening or what needs to happen.
Yeah, and I deal with very similar here at a much smaller scale, which is like, we're trying to hire a project manager right now, and I was trying to explain to her what we even do, and it was hard to like map it out without even looking at a whiteboard or something, because all the ways we generate revenue are so interconnected, and it's a strange system we run over here too.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You tell me when you figure out how to explain it. Like, elevator pitch, man. Like, I don't think I can even do one. It's just like, I run this, the other. It's an interesting problem to have. But I really love, like, this is not the most. Just a disclaimer. This is not the most. What I'm doing is not the most effective or efficient way to make money. So if your objective is to build like massive wealth and make a shit ton of money, go work on one company and just go be awesome at it. I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably do one company. But reality is I started one company and then I did another one. And then like all of a sudden, a few years later, the one I started became like overshadowed everything else. So like, but I still have these companies, they still make money. They have a team. So it's like, I'm not going to quit because it's not the best. But I think I like these dopamine hits of like doing something and then going and checking, like we come up with a badass strategy for building our product at Mailshake. And as people are actually doing the hard work of building the technology to do it,
be doing something else. Yeah, what are you gonna
I
do?
got to go do something else, right? And then I get the dopamine hit of like everything happening every month or every week. There's always a milestone or a problem, and so I like that. I like it because it's fun. And I think if I worked on one company, I would drive my team insane.
So when you started, this wasn't a normal career path at all, but it's becoming more and more normal. Like you got Andrew Wilkinson's doing similar, just a big portfolio of companies. Even our co-founder Andre runs Bant and Zopto, both amazing companies, and then now we do BotFuse with him as well. So it's like I'm looking up to all these people. Me and Robert, my co-founder, are starting so many software projects now, kind of in the same vein. Mostly because people wouldn't sell us theirs because I think the multiples are too high.
Yeah, it's expensive. It's hard to buy. It's a seller's market at the moment, but
yeah, I know. Everyone I've talked to is selling. I haven't found anybody that actually got a good deal buying any SaaS.
Yeah.
Do you think that will continue on into the future, or what do you think the future is for people on your career path? You call it a career path.
You know, I'm doing like I think Andrew Wilkinson's probably like, he calls it like the, you know, building the Berkshire Hathaway of software, right? I think it's building, you know, I'm looking at wealth creation and running multiple companies and kind of getting them to operate and then being strategic value add if and when possible. And so, yeah, what's the career path? I don't know. You can do a whole lot of stuff. You can keep staying small, right? You could stay into like go build $5,000-$10,000 a month businesses. You can go build $100,000 a month businesses. After you start getting bigger than that, after you got past $1 million ARR, it kind of becomes harder to do because you need more of a team and it's, you know, there's more details and work involved. So I think it's just a matter of what kind of path people choose to do.
Okay, so you're running Mailshake. How do you feel about people like Guilherme who spun up Lemlist, or even I'm in this circle on Money Twitter now of all these people that are learning lead gen, and all of them are building SaaS. They're building Norbert clones, they're building Mailshake clones, like Uplead clones, like lead gen tools.
Yeah.
How do you feel about everything that's happening right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting crowded. Mailshake entered when we weren't original by any means either. We were like company number, like I think single digits at that time, maybe like 9 to 15, somewhere there, at least like what was the known market. Now there's 85 companies. The thing is, it's easier than ever to build a company. It's every day or month that goes on, it's harder and harder to compete with the large companies, right? Like we are trying to compete with like Outreach and SalesLoft, and their quarterly new revenue is our annual revenue, right? So how do you win? Like how do you stand out, right? So I think every space has this of like just the number of options go up, but I think building a brand, building moats are very important. So like, you know, I use the word moats like every week in our leadership conversations of like, how are we building a moat around our company, right? And where are we choosing to lose? And so like, I guess long story short, there's still an opportunity to like come in late and win. I think like Lemlist came in much later. They did the same like AppSumo playbook that we did early on.
And it makes me think what the next thing is, meaning, okay, Lemlist comes on with the warm up, grabs a bunch of customers from everybody. What's the next thing? Because built-in email verification, I think, is killer. You already got that with Vol and Norbert. I think built-in lead gen is like merging something like an Uplead into the platform is probably going to be a move.
Debatable.
Maybe GPT-3 customized first lines built into the. Actually, that would probably be a good one. I remember you had
That's
the
what
AI
we're working on now.
cold email.
That's what we're working on.
Yeah,
we're working on a lot of intelligence across the platform. So we just launched like, and again, like by no means are like we first to do these things. I kind of like taking the last mover, late mover advantage, because you kind of see all these people who do a bunch of stuff that they think is going to work. And then as it shakes out, like some of the stuff does, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to do that way better. Right. So we just launched like temperatures, pretty much intent, a little bit of intent data on like who's a hot lead or who's not. Right. And so that's kind of addressing it after they become a lead. We're going to be doing some AI assistance in writing an email, or even just straight up writing emails for you. And then also kind of get more into like some information on like conversational intelligence too. But that's probably like next year, a little bit bigger beast to tackle.
I wanted to talk about exits on email tools, because like you were saying, there were some competitors in the space. Why isn't there a big public cold email tool? Or where is Salesforce buying these tools? Like why isn't ZoomInfo buying these tools? Like what's happening in this space right now? Why are there no big exits?
I don't think there's that many big players. So like most companies in the space are small. So I told you, I think it was like 85. I know the space pretty well. I'd say there's less than 10 companies that are over 10 million in revenue. It's hard to be strategic unless you're over 10 million in revenue. Let's put it that way, like simple rule. And that's not like an exact rule. It's just kind of a guidance that like larger M&A folks would use, because it doesn't do anything. If Salesforce bought every single tool out there, it wouldn't really change anything for them. It just give them a shit ton of work, right? And think about like these public company. How much does it cost a lawyer in legal fees, let alone like, I don't know, whatever, like all the things that require to get something. So a lot of companies, there's been some small exits, like LinkedIn acquired one of the competitors in the space, I forgot their name, and they pretty much shut them down, and they absorbed the technology to pretty much use for themselves. So yeah, I think, will there be exits in the space? At some point, yes. I think Outreach and SalesLoft, one of those guys will go public. There's Salesforce and ZoomInfo have their own technology already. Neither of those are really any good, but they've got enough of it to make sense. And no one else is big. I think the space is going to keep growing for the next 5 to 10 years, because cold email isn't where the value's at. Well, cold email is not where the value's at. Building the cold email functionality is easy. Who's the buyer of sales software that could also buy another sales software, right? So like if I'm Salesforce, I only want to buy companies that would buy a Salesforce, right? That I could also sell Salesforce to, right? Or like is strategic to Salesforce's future. And not, unfortunately, cold email isn't. Sales engagement, the broader category, I think is, unless it's a PE deal or something like that, where that's less strategic and it's more like financial outcomes. Yeah,
it seems
that's
like
my guess.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. It's like a bunch of tiny players. What I'm thinking of is, so one of my friends, she sold her business to Campbell's. It was a salsa company, and Campbell's didn't buy her salsa company, which was like, I think she was like 7 or 8 million in revenue. But what they did was somebody came in, bought like a ton of these companies, rolled them up, and then Campbell's bought whatever that collection is. So I don't know. Exactly. I don't know why someone's not trying to force this through. Like just trying to stick them all together and then sell that asset, maybe at 40 or 50 million in revenue.
Those don't go together, right? Like you'd want to go buy, and maybe you want to buy a data provider, a CRM, and a cold email tool together. So I don't think like 10 cold email tools together does anything for anybody. You just have 10 very small companies that all do the same shit. I don't know that actually does anything for anybody on the PE level, because they're not strategic.
Like they bought a salsa company, they bought someone that did tortilla chips. I think they even bought like a queso company. Like it was a
there you go. They bought like the Cinco de Mayo special. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they sold it to Campbell's, which is what Campbell's cares about, right? They want entry in that space, maybe that demographic, or I don't know if it's a demographic or market, whatever. But yeah, I think it has to be strategic. And unfortunately, a lot of business in SaaS, and you asked me earlier, like, what do I look for when I like try to grow a company or buy a company? It has to be strategic to, I don't just play I can buy it for a good deal, but what am I going to do with it, and where am I going to take it, and where can I go with it, right?
So the market of these sales guys sending cold emails, have you found that it's mostly people in tech, or are you seeing a rise of, like, let's say like construction companies or manufacturers? Like, are people like that starting to use cold email yet? Is that happening?
brick and mortar businesses or companies that have just been around for a while. Like, we've got clients or customers that are using it that are like selling test tubes and like lab equipment. And it's just like, it's not all cold email though, right? I think cold email is one use case. So outbound sales is one use case for an email sequence. There's also inside sales. Like, for example, like Mailshake's team, we use our own software, but we do follow-ups to our inbound leads, right? To help automate and drive people through the funnel faster, right? Or let's say we do a demo with someone, we put them in a post-demo nurture sequence, right? Or if there's a no-show demo, sequence. There's a, abandoned sign-up sequence. So I think inside sales is the hidden gem here. There's a whole lot more inside sales than there is actually outbound sales. And the value is much stronger. So it's just a matter of like, getting people to understand that or see that.
What do you think of the interview so far? Let me know down in the comments below. And also let me know who else should we interview. Would love to get a conversation going. Do you think that this business is too competitive? Meaning, it seems like everyone's not working together. Like, for instance, like, why doesn't Close.io have a Voila Norbert API? Why doesn't Uplead verify leads through Voila Norbert and then send them over to Mailshake? Or why can't you take all your data from Lemlist, export it and put it into Mailshake? Like, none of these people, it seems like there's a lot of influencers in this space. There's a lot of small money being made, but nobody really is working together effectively.
Yeah, I think there's not really an incentive, right? We are trying to we just hired like a partnerships person to help us kind of build more not functionality, but like more tie-ins with other companies or other companies to tie in with us. But yeah, absolutely. Like, more unified program format or like connections with each other totally make for a better user experience. I can tell you, I've been trying that for a while, trying to do that. One, I don't have enough time. Two, there's always a trade-off between engineering resources on building something like that versus building a new feature, new functionality, whatever, right? And so anytime I have to make the trade-off of like connecting with some software or connecting to getting data from or passing data to versus adding functionality that make people get better results through, one extra less thing they have to do or whatever, I always choose the latter because it's just greater impact, right? So a part of this is also it matters. So think about it this way, right? Like, if I've all the companies in this space, if I've sized them up to all be small, not one can make a big impact on me. So why would I focus on small impact, right? So as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I don't want to go focus on the noise. I want to go focus on the big things, right? So it's almost like you got to do the work here at some point, but it doesn't ever make any sense to do it. So we're deciding to say, look, we're going to go do the work. We're not going to necessarily integrate with other coding providers.
You just see the inefficiencies, right? Like, why does Lemlist have to build this feature when they could have the feature from Mailshake? Why do I have to make cold email training and Cold Email Wizard has to make cold email training? And it's the same as like on your website. It's kind of the same as what Kirme has. Like, yeah. Why Stelli's training is kind of like, why is everyone doing their own thing? And you're saying it's because of incentives,
money, right?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, like, you want to make money, I want to make money, and unfortunately, me making money means someone else is not, right? Or everyone's trying to compete for the same pie. I mean, I look at this as like, let's just all level up customers to do a better job, because the competitors are like, it's just preference. What really is the hard part is like customers actually getting good results from their efforts, right? Like that's the ultimate goal, is like, I don't care about integration with like whatever customer, like whatever products or platforms. If I can get my customers to get better results, that's the ultimate win, right? And we've got our playbook, and someone else has their own playbook, and someone else has their own playbook, right? Like, there's not a right way to do it. It's just a matter of what's right for your size or where you're at and what you have to work with, right? Like, we've got on Mailshake, we've got all US engineers. They're just expensive as fuck. Like, they're just very US employees are more expensive. Huh?
Why you do
Yeah, it's hard, right? Like again, trade-offs, higher, like we have to choose the right features and functionalities and what not to do. And there's a whole lot of things that happen, if I'm dealing with like sales handy or I don't know, like
There's a
Outplay.
lot coming out of India. There's a crazy amount
there's a
coming out
lot.
of India. My co-founder's in Romania, so like Bant and Zopto are both Romanian startups. There's a lot of Romanian startups actually coming out.
Yeah, and so like labor there is like a third of the price of the U.S. employee. So will 3 engineers get a better result than 1 U.S.? I don't know. I can't really make that argument. I'm not going to. There's no win there to talk about that. But really, at the end of the day, there's costs.
Because the obvious solution is either Americans have to be paid less or Indians have to be paid a lot more.
Yeah, and then housing has to be cheaper here too, right?
Yeah,
so like
and there's no solution. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no win here, right? So, but like there's companies like Freshworks who pretty much like built everything for everybody, sales, and crushed it. Like they're doing over $100 million in revenue. And I think, when you talk to the founders and their management, it's like they didn't have a resource constraint in building. They had a different resource constraint on their exposure to the US and international markets. So they had a different problem. Whereas for us, it's like the opposite. Like we can only build so much because we've got like 10 engineers or 12 or whatever it is, and they can only have so many hours, and it takes this many hours to do XYZ features functionality. But again, like think about this as like at the end of the day, nobody needs all the features. It's just a matter of like what are the right things to get people to the end goal.
Did you see what Gumroad did? Where they did the crowdfunding, they sold equity. I think they raised $5 million just off of I think WeFunder or something like that. Have you thought about doing crowd safes or something? I bet you guys could raise $50 million like tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not really necessarily interested in raising money because it kind of changes what we need to do to win. I think for us, it's more of like having a little bit more independence. Like we kind of craft our own destiny, and if it's like if it's a dollar value, great. If it's not, then that's fine too. So it's a little bit of those types of things. But we'll have to figure it out, right? I don't know. I mean,
I only brought it up because you brought up the resource constraints, right?
If
what's stopping you is money, the obvious solution is if you cannot give up too much equity, is to raise money.
Yeah, but then there's also the things that come along with the money, right? It's not free. Those people putting in money want some outcome as well. And so, I think that like raising lots of money, like money from lots of different people, it's a management nightmare. Like you have to email, like, let's just say you got 100 people to invest money. Like they're individuals, they want to know where their money's at, and they're going to ask you questions. You just have 100 people you have to like email back and forth with and keep. It's a distraction, a 100-person distraction, right? Whereas money is not hard these days, so we can get money. We get I know Lemless did this big PR stunt with how much they raised. That's fantastic.
No, they said they didn't raise. That was it.
No, I know,
they could get 20 and they didn't raise.
The whole
I'm going to talk to Berman about that next week.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea, right? But we get pinged from Sequoia. We've been getting pinged from everybody. The money is not the hard part. It's aligning what the money wants to do with what you want to do, right?
That's the thing that keeps ringing in my head because I talked to a lead gen company founder who said that they turned down an offer from a public company. Literally, they wouldn't give me any equity, but they also wouldn't give equity to this public company. Yeah. And you're not looking to raise, Stelly's not looking, no one's raising money, nobody's going public.
Yeah.
Is that not what's happening?
Yeah. So why is this happening? I think the answer is we all kind of going on our path, and we have a route to get there. And raising money at the right time is it probably makes the most sense. Is you kind of have to figure out where is the right time. And let's put it this way: if somebody gave me $10 million or $20 million, I wouldn't change my path. I'd still keep going the same freaking route, right? Because money is not actually my restraint. It's time and resources. And money doesn't necessarily buy resources. Because think about it this way: if I got money to go hire 10 more developers, Well, that would almost double my development team, and absorbing that amount of new people takes away from our existing bandwidth as well as add to it, right?
I would put almost all of it in marketing. I don't think I would add any developers. It sounds like you got it down, like the software's stable.
Yeah, but we don't have a marketing
straight
constraint.
At tout apps.
Yeah, for sure, but we don't have a marketing constraint, right? And on the marketing side, I have like 6 open roles. I mean, I think I have 4 now. I can't hire the people fast enough. So it's like, I don't have a money problem, I have a time problem. I can't spend my money fast enough, and that's because everyone's hiring right now. So I've got a, how the fuck can I hire people problem, right? So anyone here listening, come ping us, right? Sujan at Mailshake.com. I'll put that as a like little recruiting thing.
If you're struggling to get clients that pay you what you deserve and you want a quick path from 0 to 10K a month in your agency, check out email10k.com. You can see that. We'll link it right down below and you can check that out. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.